Yo, what is good, YouTube? Krishan checking back in with another video. So in the first update of the day, you guys are looking at the most recent updates of Samson Dauda. Now the question for today is going to be, is Samson Dauda a serious threat to their top 6 at this year's Olympia? You know, Hunter Labrada, Nick Walker, William Bonac, those were the bottom 3 from the top 6 last year. How could Samson Dauda stack up next to those guys? As long as he comes in condition, I feel like he can beat or stack up very well against all 3 of those guys. You guys let me know what you think about that in the comment section below. And as I always mention, Samson made all of these improvements after doing 5, 6, maybe even 7 shows within the span of a year. So what is he going to be able to do now that he's had all this time off to actually put on size and have a true off season? I don't think it's too far-fetched to think that Samson Dauda could find himself within their top 6. And in the next update of the day, we have recent updates of Derek Lunsford, who is looking massive right now. Now, Derek and Samson are both wild cards for this year's Olympia. I've heard some people place them as high as top 3, top 4, and I've heard other people place them as low as 7th, 8th, maybe even 10th place. But I would definitely like to see how Derek is going to stack up next to Heidi Chupin and William Bonac. All 3 of those guys were originally in the 212 division. Heidi and William have been excelling in this division. You know, William is placed as high as 2nd. So hopefully Derek also stacks up well against the big boys. Now switching over to James Hollingshead, these are recent updates from him. James looks insane in this side tricep. Now, from the Arnold Classic UK to the Tsunami Pro, which he won, I do believe James Hollingshead was improved. So hopefully at this year's Mr. Olympia, we get to see the best James this season. He still wants to right his wrongs from last year's Mr. Olympia, where he did not look the best. But I wonder how is he going to place, you know. James Hollingshead has a physique that's somewhat similar to Iain Valliere. Both of those guys are very big and also come in crazy condition, very dry skin. Now, speaking of Iain Valliere, he did drop a small update. And this guy is very conditioned, 8.5 weeks out from this year's Mr. Olympia. This is better condition and better detail than some pros have on a bodybuilding stage. And this is how Ian is looking at 8.5 weeks out. And I'm going to keep repeating myself, guys. Conditioning will prevail at this year's Mr. Olympia. Now, in the next update of the day, we have recent updates from Charles Griffen, who hasn't been putting out a lot of updates lately. Now, gonna be so hard to place these guys at this year's Olympia. Charles, Rafa Brandao, Hassan Mustafa, Antoine Valant. I feel like all of those guys are very close, and wherever they land, they're probably going to be fighting it out with each other. But I definitely think Charles Griffen is going to stand out in the lineup due to this vacuum pose. As I always say, the first pose the judges see is the front relax, and Charles is going to come out and hit the vacuum with it, and it's definitely going to draw your eyes to his physique. Now, switching over to Michal Krizo, these are recent updates of him. Now, I haven't touched on what I thought of Krizo at the Amateur Olympia. He did look incredible. However, going forward into the Prague Pro, and if he qualifies for the Olympia, he's definitely going to have to come in better conditioning. But I do feel like Krizo's posing was slightly improved at the Amateur Olympia. He heard all the critiques about him constantly shaking in all of his poses. He needs to be more still. I feel like it was a little better, but still going to take a little bit more time for him just to become a very good poser. But seems like Krizo is working towards that. I'm more than excited to see him on this Prague Pro stage. And once again, still don't know of anyone else doing that show yet. Now, the next update of the day, we have recent updates from Wilkin ahead of this year's Romania Pro. Again, no other name said to be doing that show except for Beirut Tabani. Wilkin is looking to qualify for this year's Mr. Olympia, making this year even more exciting. You know, adding Krizo and Brett to the list just makes it even more competitive. Hopefully, both of these guys are able to punch their tickets to the Olympia. Now, switching over to Marc Hector, these are recent updates of him ahead of the Europa Pro. Now, unfortunately, it seems like Marc is starting to get forgot about. Everyone hyped this guy up. Some people even had him beating Andrew Jack at the Arnold UK. And now no one is talking about this guy at all, man. It's so sad how it happens. And we just finished talking about Wilkin, who it also happened to. But I am rooting for Marc Hector. Hopefully, he brings his best to Europa. Now, switching over to Justin Rodriguez, these are the latest updates from him. And I always hate to repeat myself, guys. It's sounding like a broken record with Justin. He has a great physique. He's been in the top 10 for 2 years, but it doesn't seem like he's going to bring his best to this year's Olympia. And once again, I'm not really sure why Justin is constantly competing. He won shows last year, very high placings at the Arnold Classic. I guess this guy just loves the sport of bodybuilding, so hopefully he shows up looking pretty good. And switching over to 212, you guys are currently looking at updates of Kamal Elgargni, who is looking pretty big right now. Now, honestly, I like Kamal's look a little bit more in the open. But as Kamal said, this is probably going to be his last year doing the Olympia unless they bring back a Masters Olympia. So Kamal wants to go out in a bang, and I feel like he feels like he's more competitive in the 212 division. But in all honesty, I think Kamal is looking the best I've ever seen. Now switching over to Keone Pearson, who is also going to be a threat to this year's 212 title as long as he comes in condition. I think Keone working with Patrick Tour and also getting with X and Sled Supplement Company, you know, powered by Seth Feroce, I think having Seth and Patrick around him really helps Keone with the mindset. And we've all discussed this plenty of times. He has some of the best genetics in the sport. Keone is probably the most genetically gifted bodybuilder competing today in any division, but just has to get the mind in check. Now switching over to Oleh Kryvyi, a guy almost no one has on their radar, but one of my favorite physiques in the 212 division. Now I will let you guys know right now, very early, I have Oleh Kryvyi placing in my top 6 at this year's 212 Olympia. Not going to tell you guys exactly where I have this guy placing, but trust me, if you don't follow him, go follow him, put this guy on your radar. He was top 6 in 2020, and he's coming back for the top 6 this year. Now ending this video here with the archive of the day, you guys already know what to do. And this guy is always a great choice for the archive of the day. Very complete physique. In this shot, I don't see anything missing at all. Also seems like he has some of the best abs in bodybuilding history. But as always, I hope you guys did indeed enjoy this video, of course. If you haven't done so already, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'm Krishan from Go Fitness, and that's it. I'm out.